After the victory of the Communist Party of China on October 1st, 1949, strengthening the military as a key institution for advancing national security became a top priority. The Air Force was one of the branches that urgently needed equipment at the time, as it possessed only 3 British-built air bases from the 1920s, 6 Mustang fighters and 2 Mosquito fighters, entirely insufficient given China's vast size. In a predictable decision, China turned to large-scale procurement from the Soviet Union. In its first order in 1949, it purchased 450 Lavochkin La-9 and La-11 aircraft, which became the founding aircraft of the People's Liberation Army Air Force. With the aviation industry entering the jet age and the outbreak of the Korean War in 1950, China, sensing the threat of a US presence near its borders, began purchasing large numbers of jet aircraft. The goal was to compensate for the United States' technological superiority in the air through numerical advantage. To this end, China acquired 750 MiG-15 fighter jets, which became the backbone of its air force during that period. However, due to slow delivery speeds, China also received 375 MiG-9 aircraft. In addition to procuring large quantities of aircraft and equipping its air force, the MiG-15 bis, the Soviet jet ace of the Korean War. Powered by the VK-1 engine, it hit 1,075 kilometers per hour and climbed to 15.5 kilometers. Armed with 37mm and 23mm cannons, it went head-to-head with the F-86 Sabre. With over 16,500 built, it's the most produced jet fighter in history. China also pursued reverse engineering and copying of Soviet fighters and equipment. In 1951, China succeeded in operationalizing its first domestically produced version of the MiG-15, designated the J-2. That same year, it also purchased an additional 1,500 MiG-15 aircraft, which were delivered in kit form and assembled in China, thereby significantly improving delivery speed. The high pace of fighter procurement and domestic production created another problem for the Air Force. Personnel were extremely young and inexperienced. This led to a devastating 1-to-11 loss ratio for China's MiG-15s against American F-86s during the Korean War, meaning for every one US F-86 shot down, 11 MiG-15s were lost. In the 1950s, China was heavily influenced by the impact of American bombers during the Korean War and sought to acquire bombers for its own air force. China's first bomber was the Tupolev Tu-2, purchased as second-hand aircraft. However, the need for heavy bombers led China, just 2 years after acquiring the Tu-2, to order 13 Tupolev Tu-4s in 1952, the Soviet copy of the American B-29. China also attempted to reverse engineer and produce its own version of the Tu-4, but the project ultimately failed. In 1959, China also purchased 5 Tupolev Tu-16 bombers. Efforts to localize this bomber eventually led to the production of the H-6 bomber. From 1952 to 1960, China significantly upgraded its bomber fleet by acquiring 500 Ilyushin Il-28 aircraft, which were assembled in China under the designation H-5. During the Korean War, the Soviet Union, recognizing the shortcomings of the MiG-15, began developing a new fighter, which entered service in 1952 as the MiG-17PF. In 1958, China ordered 100 units of the aircraft and also produced it under license, designated the J-5. In 1960, as relations between China and the Soviet Union soured, ultimately leading to a complete breakdown, China began localizing the MiG-17 fighter. It produced around 1,800 units, but quality was extremely poor, and many never entered operational service. In 1958, alongside the MiG-17, another fighter, the MiG-19, was developed. Meet the MiG-19 Farmer, Russia's first supersonic fighter in level flight, hitting Mach 1.3. Maiden flight in 1953, entered service in 1955. Powered by twin RD-9 turbojets, armed with 3 devastating 30mm cannons. The forgotten legend between the MiG-17 and MiG-21, but a beast in Vietnam, shot down F-4 Phantoms in close combat. And China had also imported it. China made extensive efforts to produce the MiG-19 domestically, as it was more advanced and faster than the aircraft then in service. After prolonged struggles and setbacks, China succeeded in 1964 in producing the J-6, a localized version of the MiG-19. A total of 4,500 units were built and operationalized, making it the most numerous fighter in the history of the Chinese Air Force. The improved quality also led countries like Egypt and Pakistan to purchase this fighter from China, marking China's entry into the aerial weapons export market. Although quality had improved, the J-6 still had many shortcomings. Coupled with inadequate training, this led to heavy losses. According to US reports, between 1950 and 1960, China lost 21% of its aircraft fleet in non-combat incidents. Nevertheless, the 1950s can be considered a turning point for the Chinese Air Force. From just 3 air bases in 1949, it grew to 150 air bases by 1959. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. It's a big surprise. Let me know in the comments which fighter jet you want me to cover next. Until the next video, stay safe and take care.